Our next guest has been a regular guest on our show, Their Business. And what we're trying to do, again, in this show is educate you, inform you, to give you the information and the knowledge, and knowledge becomes your power to make good choices. And that extends into every facet of the automotive industry. And I think you're going to find this next conversation simply fascinating. We're going to talk in depth about the painting process in a body repair shop. And here to share his knowledge and expertise with us is Mike Britt, the painter for Performance Coatings AutoBody. And Mike, thanks so much for being here today.
Good morning, Mitch.
I think this is probably a process that most people really have never had described to them in detail, that they don't necessarily know what goes into the foundation of your work that separates below average, average, above average, and then excellence in the automotive paint procedure processes. So if you don't mind, let's start with the paint process and where it all begins.
It all starts with getting the car into the shop and getting it cleaned. The panels that you're going to work on, the panels next to what you're working on. You want to get the preparation of what you're about to do all in line. You want to get the panels waxed and greased, all the contaminants off them before you start working on them. That way you don't put anything that the panel's picked up off of prior to what you're doing into what you're about to do.
Well, and so I've heard this before, and share with me if you think this is accurate, that the paint work process is 97% preparation and 3% paint work.
Correct.
So let's talk about the preparation and various different stages of that process that helps define that final product, because, again, my understanding and experience has been that the most minute discrepancies in that prep work show through when that paint is applied.
Definitely. It shows a lot in certain colors, too. A lot of colors will hide imperfections. Some will expose everything that's wrong.
So let's talk about different things that you experience in the prep work. There's sometimes fillers might be used.
Well, if you're starting with a panel that's been repaired, there's some work that goes into it, getting the damage done to it, taking out any type of body work that needs to be done, straightening the panel, getting the body filler in there, getting the panel back to being straight before you go into the next step.
Well, and if that process isn't done properly, what's the end result look like to a consumer that walks up to a panel and sees it?
You could see a lot of stuff. There might be stuff that we call halos, to where you could see where the repair was done, to where there's an edge from the body filler to the panel, and the paint kind of lays in it and shows. Anything from sand scratches, waviness, dents that might have been missed during the repair.
And you mentioned the preparation of the surface of the vehicle to remove contaminants. And what type of things would be apparent to a consumer if they walked up to a panel and that process wasn't done to perfection? What would they visibly see on a vehicle that wasn't done properly? You
would see anything from streaks to where the color in the base coat might look disoriented. It might look kind of hazy.
And I've seen over the years, I guess you would see dust particles.
Yeah, you could have anything from dirt to fish eyes to shrinkage.
Fish eyes. Well, and the shrinkage is a great one. But let's talk about the fish eyes. What are those for somebody that's obviously on the radio and we just say fish eyes? Let's describe what that is, how they occur, and what they want to look for if they're examining a car. For an example, they're going out to look to buy one, and they're on a lot. This is actually a process, by the way, we describe in depth on the videos on our website, theCarBuyerAdvisor.com, and they're downloadable instructional videos where the consumer can prepare themselves for these preliminary mechanical and cosmetic inspections that they can perform themselves, and we guide them through that process. But a fisheye, what causes them? Describe what they look like to a consumer if they walk up to a car and see these.
A fisheye kind of looks almost like a divot in the paint. If you were looking like a size of a pinhead, it would be opened. You would actually see like a hole in the surface.
Like a crater.
Correct. And what causes that is contamination in the panel before you started the repair. If it wasn't wiped down and cleaned before you went into the spray booth and started applying any type of paint over it, the paint will actually separate from whatever's on the panel, and it just kind of stays around it. It kind of opens up. It doesn't seal itself up and float into the next piece of the paint.
And ultimately, the air escapes and it leaves this crater as it shrinks back in towards the body.
Correct.
And you talked about shrinkage, so let's discuss that one too.
What happens there is a lot of times the body filler, the primer that goes over that to give you a foundation to apply the paint, it sucks up into the scratch from the sanding process. And as the paint starts to cure, it starts to recess itself down into that scratch, and the scratches become really evident.
They become more pronounced.
Yeah, they really start to stand out.
Well, and this is one of the things that really separates the really true professional paint shop, paint job to the average or amateur job, and that is the color match process and what it really takes to have a car and paint a panel and make them merge together as if it was never painted. So let's talk about your color match process.
The color match process starts with a number off your car that gives us a code for the paint, and we're able to run that code with your VIN number into a computer system that gives us a formulated amount of paint that the car was shot with from what manufacturer, what plant it was assembled in. And your one color might have 4 to 5 different variances. So by us having the computer systems that we do and being able to vindicate it, it really narrows down the process and gets us a pretty accurate match on the color.
Well, and here's something that I found really interesting in the manufacturing process, that if you have a vat of paint and a paddle that's stirring this electronically while they're painting cars through a production line, the first car from that vat of paint and the last car can be 2 different colors.
Sure.
And explain a little bit of how that occurs.
What happens is when the cars go into this production, they start getting shot. As the paint starts to get less in what it's being sprayed, it starts to have a variance of what the first car would have looked like.
And so I understand that some of the metallics can start to settle, so there may be a little bit more metallic at the bottom of the vat instead of the top, even though they're trying to stir it.
Yeah, that's why they give us the variances of some become more coarser, some become lighter in flake and metallic size.
Right, because the metallic is basically being pulverized with these paddles stirring the
over a
period of time. And so you said that you use a computer system above and beyond that to match that color and to create those variances so that you can more accurately match a car than just taking a can of the original matching coded color and just spraying it on as if that was going to be the perfect match.
Yeah, the DuPont system that we use is really great for their color match. DuPont's really a really high standard in the automotive line, and they have an exceptional color match program with everything that goes on with it, from their tech support down to the computer systems or the people we can talk to.
Well, and let's talk about the metallic colors. They're probably some of the hardest colors to match.
Yeah, a lot of these new cars are coming out with some really high metallic colors, high pearl colors, tri-coat colors, which if you're not up to date and really on top of your game with it, they can get away from you and cause a lot of problems.
Well, and let's get a little bit into them, because even the metallics, there are different size metallics.
Yeah, everything from ultra fine to ultra coarse. So there's about 8 different variances of them.
And so when you're matching a paint job, you may need to add a little bit more to something to get a proper match from panel to panel.
Yes, we when we're spraying a car, we try to do a spray out prior to applying any paint that we do, so that way we can get an accurate look of what the color is going to look at. And
you were just talking about some of the more difficult paint colors to deal with, and I want to get into those a little bit deeper, if you don't mind, the pearls and the tri-coats. And let's explain why this is the type of a paint process that's so important that they have an expert really do for them.
These new colors, these tri-coats, there's a lot to them when you're spraying them out. You have everything from different passes to different air pressures. Like we were touching on earlier with the different variances of the color, the tri-coats consist of a ground coat with a pearl coat over the top. And then to achieve that same color pearl, you have anywhere from 4 to 8 passes, depending on how rich or how vibrant they actually have the car coming out of the production lines.
And so you're talking passes of your spray gun.
Yes.
Different passes across the surface of the paint. And so you're adding paint to get that
correct
match.
Yeah, it takes quite a bit of material sometimes to get some of these colors down.
And then you talked also about the pearls. And there's apparently, and I found this fascinating, different types of pearls, both dry and liquid. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, they have the different types of pearls. DuPont has I think there's about 24 of the different powder pearls. And the new cars that are coming out, they're switching into these waterborne paints that are more environmental friendly from the basic types that they have now. The
eco-friendly.
Yeah, the urethane paints that we use now. There we go. Trying to find the word.
Me too.
The urethane paints are what we use now. They're trying to go into the water-based water solvents to be more environmental friendly. So they're switching their powder pearls into liquid pearls. And some of the liquid pearls give you a lot more vibrance, a lot more bounce and reflection in the colors.
And so, but you've been trained and skilled in the powder, the liquids, and even the new water-based.
Yeah, we go through a painter cert course about every 2 years. They have you come in and they redo them and get you updated on all the new products.
Well, I think this one's really interesting because I think just about everybody that's ever seen a car and they all of a sudden the car moves or they shift their body and they notice one panel doesn't match all of a sudden. They think maybe it's just the sun's hitting that panel, and that's not necessarily what's really happening. There's just describe that process of a panel that changes colors on people.
What we're looking at is when you're standing directly in front of the panel, that's your face value of the color, what you directly see. You might take a step to the left and you start to see the value of the color, the hue, it starts to change. And then you have the flop, which could really change on you and give you a difference in the color from one panel to the next. So you might see that difference between what you repaired and the panel that you didn't repair. So what we like to do, we like to blend into the next adjacent panel. That way you have that seamless reflection of all three of those parts of the color to where you don't see a difference between what was fixed and what wasn't fixed.
And basically that means more prep work to prep into the next panel. It means more material that gets applied to make that blend a smooth transition. And then clear coating, I understand, the complete next panel.
Yeah, you always want to put clear coat over everything. That's your UV protected. That's what keeps the base coat, the color vibrant, and the longevity out of it.
And then you're still now taking off the, maybe a mirror housing or a door handle so that you don't leave tape lines, because that's one of the things we missed covering is in the prep work, actually taking things off and doing it properly.
Yeah, it's that eye to detail.
So, but a lot of shops will just take the shortcut and paint the one panel because that's all they're paid for. And there's an extra expense for you to do this, but it just becomes part of your
Sure, it becomes
doing
part
it properly.
Part of the routine of knowing that in order to get the right outcome, you want to get that next panel.
Well, and I think this is really exciting too, because Performance Coatings AutoBody also does what you do, custom airbrush artwork for even motorcycles and motorhomes or anything they want to bring you.
Sure, we can
Quads,
touch
ATVs, boats.
We can touch every aspect of what's painted out there, from cars to bikes to planes to anything that you want color on.
And what's really exciting is I saw your capability in a project that's currently in your shop. So describe that marble project you have going on a motorcycle right now.
We're doing some tins on a bike that consist of what's called marbleizer, and it almost looks like a bowling ball, the marble look, or your countertops. And there's a flame overlay set that goes on the top of the marble to where it kind of looks like it's on fire with some pearls inside the flames. It's a long process. There's a lot of different cheats to achieve. Some of your hardest looks in the paint industry are actually pretty easy to achieve. So,
but this one is absolutely, if you saw it, it's mind-boggling. And then to try to match that because one panel got damaged and you're trying to not have to repaint the entire bike for this individual, but to spare them that expense by really doing a proper match. And this is where where an artist, a true artist, shines. And I'm going to go on record and say this, that the quality of that final product that comes out of Performance Coatings AutoBody, you touch them all, and you really take that as a personal responsibility. And I see the quality of your work; it's unparalleled in our industry, and in your industry, in our community. So I give hats off to you for that.
Well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the expansion project that's going on right now at Performance Coatings AutoBody.
We just picked up another building, which is great. we are definitely moving forward with the new building and what we're looking into expanding with, getting into a better facility for the customer, so that way we can really perform and outdo what's expected of us.
Well, and I think it's really exciting because in current economic times, a lot of businesses are suffering or folding or closing their doors, and you're growing through this climate, and it's really a testimonial to what a quality business does is it thrives when others around it suffer and perish. But for us, the most exciting part about that as a show is that our community is supporting the quality standards that you're up to, which, like I said, I ran a very high-end exotic sports car facility here in northern Nevada for several years. And this is the shop that I chose to have Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys. You'll do Pintos too. I don't want people to think this is that you only do the
We'll paint anything you need.
Motorcycles, ATVs, quads. I mean, your lawnmower, they'll do it if you ask them. But the quality of the repair and the affordability of it, the price and value combination is unprecedented. And I think it really is a testimonial to successfully run business. And Mike Shula, the owner, I was just watching him yesterday. A set of wheels were being repaired for somebody, and at the end of that process, he walked right up to him to inspect them personally. I mean, it's his name on it when it leaves the shop. Hands
on. He likes to go over every single thing and make sure that it's set to his standards, and Mike's got really high standards for what he's trying to achieve with the business.
Well, and I'll share one experience with that. In the several years that he did all of my high-end cars, he called me once and he asked for more time, and I went to see what it was that he needed more time for, and it was a fisheye, but it was located underneath the bumper, and the only way you would have seen it is to get on one knee and stick your head tilted underneath the bumper to see it, or put it up in the air on a rack and look underneath it to see it, but he wanted to get it right and reshoot it, and that's his standard. I laughed. I was like, nobody would ever see this. And he says, it doesn't matter. I did.
What's nice about a boss like that is it pushes yourself to try to achieve that same greatness that he's after. It really helps everybody kind of get on the same page and want that.
What I think is really interesting is that your wife now can't walk up to a parking lot. I heard this story without picking apart every car in the parking lot.
We have to be careful when we attend car shows or we're showing something, because she knows what to look for when we're walking through or when things are being judged.
Well, if you want the finest quality work, fairly priced, Performance Coatings, AutoBody, please tell them how to get a hold of you and where you're located.
We're at 100 Gentry Way. We're a Suite D. We're here in Reno.
And that's 829-8181?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Save me on that.
Performance Coatings AutoBody. You can find them on our website, thecarbuyerinadvisor.com, and you can listen to their previous interviews by clicking their YouTube link.